morning and welcome to this service of Unity of Bernie Online. We're so glad you've joined us. You're in the house at Love Build. You're in a place where we affirm the pure, the powerful, the positive. And today we'll be talking about the subject of out of this world. If you are touched by or inspired by these videos, I invite you to give your best gift by pressing the PayPal button at the bottom of your page or sending your gifts to Unity of Bernie, P.O. Box 1973, Bernie, Texas 78006. That's P.O. Box 1973, Bernie, Texas 78006. And as I say each and every Sunday, come, join the family.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning.
I would like to remind you to turn off your cell phones and put them away for the remainder of the service. My name is Ann King. I'm your worship assistant today. Bob Thurman is running the PowerPoint. And of course, Tom Allen is our video tech today. We have sign-up sheets in the back, and you can sign up to help with the service by signing up for worship assistant, daily word reader, usher, etc. I want to recognize, though, the one person that is here every single Sunday doing all kind of work, and that's Tom Allen. Okay, we're going to stand up, and we're going to sing our joy song, Open My Eyes That I May See. Open my eyes that I may see, places what you have asked for me, places my hands the wonderful key, that your unfastened set me free. Silently now I wait for thee, ready my God thy will to see. Open my eyes, illumine me, Spirit divine. Open my ears that I may hear, voices of truth thou sendest here. And all the rain must fall on my ear, everything false will disappear. Silently now I wait for thee, ready my God thy will to see. Open my ears, illumine me, Spirit divine. Open my mouth and let me bear, gladly the one truth everywhere. Open my heart and let me declare, silently now I wait for thee, ready my God thy will to see. Open my heart, illumine me, Spirit divine. All right, you may be seated, and I want to welcome India too. I can't read. It doesn't seem like I've seen you in a while. Always happy to have India. She's been with us a long time. Okay, so do we have anybody that is here for the first time? I don't see anybody unless I'm missing somebody. But anyway, I'd like to welcome you all here. Today is potluck, you know, and we're always pleased to have you and after a rainy night. So if you will look in your bulletin, there's a prayer request form for any prayer request you may have. You can always drop them in our prayer box, which is in the back of the church under the chalkboard before church, or as they bring it down for the prayers, you can drop it in, just let them know, and they'll stop and let you drop it in then. Or at the very least, you can drop it in at the end when we're finished with church, and it will still go to our own prayer team and then be sent to Silent Unity, and group prayer is very powerful. And now we're going to have announcements, but I'm going to let Jay start because he had something he wanted to say.
All right, everyone, this is your opportunity to stretch your comfort zone, because I've been thinking about for a period of time about us having a choir here at Unity of Bernie. You don't have to sing perfectly. If I couldn't carry a tune in a bucket, but I know there's the folks out there that have this ability. We're not looking for perfection, we're looking for progress. And if you feel like you would like to join our choir, be part of singing, please let me or Tom Allen know about that. I'd like to start seeing that we can put that together. As I say, we can start small. It's the progress I'm interested in, and then out of small things come great things. So be thinking about it, pray about it, meditate about it, whatever you may feel. But know that I'd love to have, and I think we'd all be blessed by those who could. If you have any ability to sing, please, and you're willing, please let me or Tom know. Thank you. Appreciate it.
We had a choir a long time ago, but it'd be nice to have one again. Okay, so for announcements, we reuse the jacket, but you can take the insert home, and we're not quite to the last Sunday of the month, so continue to leave the jackets here. There are still, there are May and June daily words in the back. So we've got new ones now. So if you want one, they're free. Pick up one and take it with you. We're always collecting dry goods and toiletries to pass on to various groups. I'll tell you a funny story. We didn't have a whole lot, like 3 or 4 bags last time. Took them and put them in my car to drop off at Family Services. But when I went to get a used lawnmower from this man I know, he's 92 and very zen guy, but those bags were in the back, so I took them out and put them on the ground and put the lawnmower, drove away without picking them up again. And a couple of days later I called, I said, I think I left our canned goods and stuff. And I went to get them, and those 5 bags had turned into about 10 because they went through their cabinets and gathered up all kinds of stuff. So, and we do have potluck today after church, so it doesn't matter if you brought anything or not, we always have plenty. And whenever we have potluck, we do ask if you can stay and help us clean up a little bit, put the room back together, and there's always dishes in the sink that need to be done, and different things like that. So if you can stay and help clean things up when we're finished, that's always nice. And if you are a member and did not receive a copy of our membership manual, it says to talk to Kathy Brown. Kathy Brown is not here today. I'm sorry. Jake is here. Zach, not Jake.
My uncle's Jake.
Yeah, I'm good on all fronts. Yeah, all right. Okay. Anyway, he will be happy to pass the word on to her that you need one. And if you haven't seen them, they are just beautiful. They have clear pages with color pictures of each member and all the stuff, and they're just. We've had these in the past, but never like this. So they really are nice. We do have a Sunday morning book discussion going on. It is one of the best books I think we've ever had. It lends itself to discussion great. It's co-creating a conversation with the masters, co-creating at its best. And it's Wayne Dyer and Esther Hicks channeling Abraham. And we have a lot of good conversation with it. And it's just a question-answer thing, so anybody can start at any time. We will be finishing it up before too many more Sundays go by, and so then we will be starting a new book. And what book is that? We don't know, because people that come to the study group bring in suggestions, we talk about them, and then we vote on what we're going to do next. So if there's any particular book you really like, that you think lends itself to discussion, and you'd like to come to the discussion group, if you're not, please do, and let us know what that is. If you are not getting our emails for any reason, there is a sign-up sheet in the back. Just sign up again on there. I know that Marty's email, HCTC, which some of you do have, it's a co-op out here, they will not let eye contact come through, so you're never going to get them unless you start a Gmail or a Yahoo account or something. But other than that, everybody should be getting them. Also, too, I will say, because people will mention to me every once in a while that they used to get things and now they're not, all of the email servers periodically adjust their filters. And when that happens, stuff you've been getting may be going into spam, So always check there and either mark it as not spam or drag it back to the inbox so it can know that you're supposed to be getting those. We're encouraging everyone to start wearing name tags so that if we do have new people, they don't have to try to remember this many names. And we have several ongoing activities via Zoom. They are in your order of service on the insert, I believe, so you can take that with you. It's got login information, and these include a book. Are y'all still doing Jesus, My Autobiography on Monday?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. And then Course in Miracles on Wednesday and Pathlighters on Thursday. All of those are done via Zoom. So hope you can make some of those. You can join at any time.
And we have 14 courses there.
Oh,
Wednesday night.
Jay said there are 14 Course in Miracle members on Wednesday night now. So that group is building. And we now will have the reading of the daily word. It's Gulley, I believe. There you are.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
As we quietly and gently prepare for the reading of the daily word, we remember that we're in spirit with millions of daily word readers in churches throughout the world. The Christ candle is lit as a reminder of the Spirit of God within all of us, which we call the Christ within. The word for today is appreciation. The affirmation is, I appreciate the good in my life. When someone admires my efforts or thanks me for something helpful I've done, I'm happy to know I have blessed them. Recognizing how good it feels to be appreciated, I remember to express my gratitude and appreciation to the people who have blessed me. I appreciate my friends and family by nurturing those relationships. I appreciate my community by being a responsible citizen. I appreciate the natural beauty of the world by caring for it and taking time to enjoy it. The people, the places, and the things I appreciate become more precious to me as I discover that each reflects God's presence and God's activity in a uniquely beautiful way. I am grateful to have so much to appreciate. And this comes from Romans 12:10. Love one another with mutual affection. Outdo one another in showing honor. My name is Ann Gulley, and I thank you for joining in worship today.
Thank you, Ann. Ann is also someone that volunteers for an awful lot of stuff. Please stand now. We're going to have our miracle moment. And we're going to say that together. The joy of the Lord is your strength. God in me is infinite wisdom. He shows me what to do. In all my ways acknowledge him, and he will direct my paths. I can do all things through Christ which strengthens me. Naught can disturb me, for Christ is my peace and my voice. All things work together for good. In quietness and confidence shall be your strength. Faith is the strength of the soul inside, and lost is the man without it. The greatest teaching ever given is Christ in you, the hope of glory. God is my help in every need. Remain standing. We're going to have our celebration song, Onward, Ever Onward.
Onward, ever onward, marching evermore, with love's living message ever to the fore. To thy only standard we can have no foe. Forward, ever forward, see love's banner.
Thank you. Remain standing for our opening prayer. We'll say that together. Unity and burning is a fire of loving spiritual community, providing sacred space for purpose of growth. We honor and celebrate Christ in all people. Thank you. You can be seated now, and I'm going to turn this over to Reverend Jay for the remainder of the service.
Good morning. Now's the time in our service that we come together united way for the energy of love to back our prayers. And we all have that inside of us. And this is what we access now when we pray for ourselves, other people, events, whatever it may be, whatever is on our hearts or in our hearts as well is important to the Spirit within. For those of you who have not filled out a prayer request and you'd like to, it's in the middle of your bulletin, and I'll take a moment to wait while you do that. Otherwise, we'll bring the prayer box forward and we'll pray together. Well, we are a powerful group of prayers. When you see the answered prayers that have occurred here, and I bear witness to it. It's absolutely wonderful. It speaks to the consciousness of this group, the consciousness that was being held online. Everybody coming together and celebrating the love that we are. See a couple writing some things down. Those of you online, of course, you can't write it and put it in our box, but you can hold it in your heart when we pray. You assume the consciousness that is you, the truth of you, as we pray. Ever-present and loving Spirit, you know the needs, desires and wishes and wants of our hearts before we give utterance. You are the way in which we live, whether we know it or not. We use the power that you give us right now to hold the highest vision for those who have requests that are represented in this box. For those who are suffering, we ask that you appear as a comforter. For those who are in joy and celebration, we know that you appear as love and light and joy. You appear to each one as we need, as we desire. The most important thing we know is that when we release our human ideas of how things should be and say, thy will be done, we know it is good. We may not see it right now, but we know it is good because you are good and we have good inherent in us. We ask that you bless these people who have requests in this box that range the gamut of human emotions and human situations. We ask that you be with them now. Let them know in a palpable way of your presence. We join in a one song of united love and offer these prayers, releasing them in faith and knowing that they mix with other people doing the exact same thing right now in a beautiful circle of love that encircles our planet and heals us. We give thanks and we say it is so. Amen.
The song that I brought to go with today's message is called More Than Enough. It was written by Daniel Nahmad, and it goes with today's message about prosperity and abundance. There's more than enough in the universe that you create.
Let us right now assume an attitude of quietude and peace. Let us assume an attitude of going to a place that we know so well inside ourselves, or if we don't know it well, we become acquainted with it right now. And this special place is the presence of the Spirit that animates us and guides us and takes care of hundreds of things without our conscious attention. It breathes us, it digests our food, it rouses us, puts us to sleep. There's so many things. We can be thankful for that. And right now, in this place, I ask you to bring to mind the most peaceful, comforting idea that you can hold. You feel this warmth of this good feeling begin to come over you from the top of your head, moving down through your shoulders and midsection and your legs and feet. In this place, you remember who you are above all human labels and contrivances and ideas. You recognize that you are one with the Spirit that created this world. And you know that you're able to create your world by the thoughts you think. And right now, you entertain the peaceful, the calm, the resolute. You're in the presence of love. And anything that you are holding against yourself or anyone else can be released right now by a decision. That you would rather be happy than right. In this place, you are forgiven. In fact, you were never blamed. Love was always with you, whether you called your experience good or bad or indifferent. Love was present. And right now we remove all blocks that we have erected to the presence of love. Our judgments, our pains, our negativities, our upsets, anything that keeps us from feeling and expressing the wonderful truth that is at the foundation of our being. In this moment, we forgive ourselves. We forgive others. We forgive the past. We know that if we had known better, we would have done better. We release the sense of condemnation or guilt and know that this moment is brand new. And it awaits only our choice. Will we agree with God's opinion of us? Or will we stay in our opinion of ourselves if we've done things that we wish we hadn't. This is the time we can walk in newness of life. We release and let go. And in the silence, we feel ourselves being remade, renewed, and recreated. We enjoy sweet serenity right now. We are remade in the image and likeness of love, set up, go forth, and live a wonderful, victorious life. The Spirit within us heals all. Our mind, our body, our emotions. Everything that is unlike what we wish to experience falls away from us now. Divine energy is in us. Love is at hand. And we are abundantly grateful for this moment of renewal. And in our hearts and in our minds right now, we agree with Spirit's opinion of us and access the kingdom of heaven, which is all things good and which we are a part. With renewed confidence, renewed strength, and knowing our true identity, we say, it is so. Well, good morning. It's wonderful to be with you all as always. I want to ask you a question. I'd like to see, just a show of hands, how many of you believe that prosperity is only measured in money? I like that. No hands coming up. A lot of people out there think that prosperity is only dollar bills. In fact, way back, as I told you, when I was working and selling those books and doing seminars for the Life 101 series, Peter McWilliams and I worked together, and he began to think about different ideas from Life 101, you can't afford the luxury of a negative thought. Another one was do it, let's get off our butts. And in the mid-90s, or the early, I think 1994, he said, I want to write a book that talks about true wealth. He wrote a book called Wealth 101, and the subtitle is Wealth is so much more than money. And I thought about this because it was some years ago that I was in Dallas, Texas, and I met Mr. Zig Ziglar. I don't know if you all have ever heard of him, but he was the motivational speaker from Yazoo City, Mississippi. He liked to brag about that a lot. He was a character. And he said, and I remembered this, he said, you're a natural millionaire already, no matter who you are. And I listened to this. I want to know more about it. He asked the question, would you take $1 million for your sight? Would you take $1 million for your hand? Would you take $1 million even for a finger? Well, I started thinking about that in a minute. Not really. The point was, the greatest things that come to us in life come to us free. We're born with them. Now, not everybody is born with a perfect body or perfect sight. We understand that. But by and large, the things that are given to us, we tend to take for granted. I wouldn't take $1 million for any of those things that I just mentioned. It'd be nice to have it, but I'm not interested in giving up something that's infinitely more precious. What I'm interested in is having enough to walk through this life and an abundance of health and happiness and yes, wealth, but I'm not going to tear myself to pieces in the pursuit of it. I did that some years ago, and I found that happiness was much more important than money. I understood that it was important to have money to get by. I studied the Fillmores. I studied Catherine Ponder. In fact, Catherine Ponder and I opened a church together in San Antonio called the Unity Center of Practical Christianity, and she wrote books that were wonderful. The Prospering Power of Genesis, The Prospering Power of Moses. One of my favorites is The Prospering Power of Love. And she saw wealth, not only in dollars and cents, but as I just mentioned what Peter saw it in, saying wealth is so much more than money. So I want to talk to you this morning about true prosperity. The true prosperity that you are meant to enjoy in this life. You have a calling on your life. God has you here. You're here rather for a purpose. And to discover that purpose can be a lifelong adventure. And through that adventure, we discover all kinds of things about ourselves. Like, we've heard this, money is the root of all evil. If you want to lose a friend, get into a money situation with them. Neither a borrower or a lender be. We have all these ideas about money, and we get them in our youth. All the things that we hear when we're 4 and 5 years old, we're just like sponges. And we take this in, and then as we grow up, we look for evidence to support what we learn, and we live that out, and we wonder why life isn't a wonderful adventure. It's because we're repeating patterns that weren't even necessarily our fault. We're repeating the patterns of the people who raised us as they repeated their patterns, and before that, and before that. I've learned that wealthy people, and I don't necessarily mean in money, but those that I call wealthy people have wealth ways. They have a way of looking at life that you can't put a price on. I know that I wanted this in me, and I think I was able to achieve it because I've looked back at my life and I thought of 2 instances that kind of dovetail together. I remember owning my first Cadillac from selling and working in the business world. I remember how that felt. And 2 or 3 years later, I remember having a little baby dog placed in my arms, and it's just about this big. His name was Popeye, and he began to suck and nibble on my earlobe. And I contrasted those 2 feelings. Which one was the one that I wanted to feel all the time? And it was that moment that money couldn't buy. It was not me attaining a goal that I had set from a car. It was the wealth of being able to appreciate the moment as it is. Some people are able to look out in the world and see a wealth not only of opportunities, but of beauty, of love, of wonder. They look for the positive. As I said, when I worked as a funeral home chaplain, I do remember an epitaph, and this was one of my favorite things that I read on any of those. It was a lady that lived about 80, 85 years, and in cursive writing on the epitaph, it was, ever she sought the good, and ever she found it. That's wealth. Seeking the good amidst what's going on, no matter whether it is challenging, no matter we call it evil, whatever it may be, we're challenging ourselves to look for the good. This is what I want to say. If we're doing new thought in the way that I really think it's meant to do, we are looking for the good in every circumstance there is. If you look for the good in the circumstances of your life, you're bound to find some. Even if it's just, we call it absolutely terrible, the good could be your ability to stand forth and face what you have to. That's a form of wealth. There is wealth that is so much more than money that we carry with us, and we don't give ourselves the credit for it. What have you faced? What have you gone through? What have you given yourself to? That is part of your wealth. And the growing through that experience is part of the wealth coming back to you. Now, if you want true prosperity that I'm talking about, a way of looking at life, you change your mind. If you want money, and that's really what you call true wealth, and that's the whole of it, there are plenty of ways to get that. You just go to work, don't give up, and walk into the destiny of those that have the cash, that you know how they do it, you've read the books, they're out there are plenty. Nothing wrong with that. But wealth won't buy an appetite. Money won't buy an appetite. There are some things money can't buy. We're wealthy beyond what we can imagine right now. It's just that we know that in the world we inhabit, it is nice to have some cash in the pocket. But knowing what I'm talking about is true prosperity is the beginning of any kind of wealth. And that is knowing that you're a living, loving, breathing example of God's own love. You are the one set forth with a certain call on your life. And if you call all the experiences that come to you, if you call them good in some way or another, you're looking for the good always, you're going to begin to find it. But if we are pointing our fingers and condemning ourselves and other people, no matter how much cash we have in the bank, we're poor because we have no peace of mind and we're living in a condemnatory spirit towards ourselves and other people. Because remember, any emotion that we express, we always have to feel it first. We think that the other person will feel whatever the object of our upset is, and that's true, but we have to go first that way inside. A negative, finger-pointing attitude is one that originates in us, as well as the joyful, thankful, loving ways that we interact. We feel that first as well. How would you like to order your world to be? What do you consider true prosperity? You know, one of the things that you could do to make a lot of money is to affirm that and live that and breathe that. Just as I said, you dedicate everything to that. But sometimes, on the way to doing that, you have to give up some things that would count as wealth. I had to give up some things that meant a lot to me in order to make that real estate quota many years ago. I was at the office early and I left late. I knocked on every door I could. I phoned every person I could. I worked about 12 hours a day. And I asked myself midway through that, are you happy? Not really, but the bank account was good. And see, I gauged everything by the money that I had in my pocket. And it wasn't until I began to get involved in the spreading of the New Thought ideas long before I was a minister. And like I said, working with the author Peter McWilliams and doing these seminars and talks and going to churches and doing these programs, that's when I began to feel a certain wealth. And yes, guess what? The physical money came. I felt it first in what was going on. Remember I told you about Popeye, the dog. I felt something that I had just sent chills through me, and I thought, gosh, I love this. I wanted more of it. I began to feel and appreciate those everyday occurrences that you can't put a dollar value on, and voila. Out of that came my life's purpose. It began to unfold slowly, but unfold it did. I was meant to be a teacher of New Thought. And finally, without a doubt, without any hesitation, I tell you this, completely and totally, this isn't hyperbole, this is the truth. I could do nothing but answer the call to ministry. Nothing. It did not let me go. It would not quit. It kept me up at night until I finally said yes. And that, from all that, came the most wealthy feelings I've ever had. I feel like I was truly blessed with the wealth when I followed my interior signals. How many of you today are following your internal guidance, your internal signals that you think are leading you to places that you'd rather not necessarily go? It stretches your comfort zone. And so many times we want to sit back and just have things, just don't bother me, and I don't want anything to change, and I'm not going to rock the boat. You've got to rock the boat. You've got to rock your internal boat. You've got to let it be rocked in order to have the new life. What I'm talking about this morning, life is always lived from the inside out. We think it comes to us from some other place, and it can. It can come because we believe the programs that we were raised with. I'm talking about interrupting these programs this morning. I'm talking about charting a new course for yourself. I'm really talking about knowing the wealth that is already you, no matter what you've been through. You remember when they went down and looked at the Titanic, and we saw these beautiful pieces of silver and so forth, but they had barnacles and all kinds of things encrusted on them. And when they were brought up from the bottom of the ocean floor, they were polished and made like new. They had always been that way since 1912. And this was what, 1985? You have something in you that although you feel you may be barnacle encrusted, or you've done all these things, or you made wrong choice, or whatever it may be, you're still that perfect, innocent, wonderful child of God. All you've got to do is be willing to release the barnacles and the things that you have accrued over a period of your life. It happens to all of us. Our self-worth, our self-esteem, we think is tied to everything that's outside of us. We judge ourselves by how we do against other people. Why don't we take the time to look inside ourselves and appreciate the true prosperity of the gifts that we were given that are only ours to unwrap? Your life is a gift. And the true prosperity that I'm talking about this morning is recognizing that invisible source of supply. And when you do that, and you're in line with that, it's amazing how the physical source of supply will come. How many people have ever had in here serendipity where you weren't expecting a check in the mail or something to happen and it just came to you? Right, that happens. But how many of you have really set an expectancy for yourself to experience the wealth of life? And yes, money's part of that, but those times that you can't put words to, those times that take your breath away, the times that you wouldn't give anything for, we all have those. And that's what I call the wealth of memories. And you can access that, and you get into the feeling of that. Neville Goddard, the great metaphysical author, said feeling is a secret. And where are you going to get these feelings except through your past? And you get these feelings through your past, but be sure you're not dragging a sense of lack, loss, and limitation with you. Be present to the moment right now. It's brand new. Yesterday, as it said, ended at 11:59 p.m. Today is a brand new day, and you get out of it just what you put into it. And wealth, true wealth, the kind that is more than silver things in your pocket and pieces of paper. True wealth is an attitude. It's not just a bank account. True wealth is the beginning to see yourself and other people as part of a grand mosaic that is here for your and my ultimate growth, our ultimate unfolding of our destiny. How many experiences can you carry this morning, that you can claim this morning, that you can remember and reach back and hold on to and say, I love that. And as I said, I wouldn't give anything for it. Do that. And then watch what happens physically. Life is always an inside-out proposition. And there are people that I know, not only in here, but outside, that are going through things right now that test the very mettle you have, the strength you have, the things that I talk about that occur at 3 o'clock in the morning that keep you up. And I want to speak to that for a moment. You know, if there's any weakness in New Thought, and I don't believe there is, but there's one place I'd like for it to be a little more attenuated, is the idea that sometimes we're going to hurt, and sometimes we need to let it out. And sometimes our affirmation needs to be, I love myself enough to feel what I feel, and I will come back from this. And then just be. There's nothing that you have to do besides some human functions that we all do. There's nothing you have to do, really, when you get down to it, but there's everything you have to be. And from proper being comes wonderful doing. You know, some people think it's being, doing, you know, like Frank Sinatra, do, be, do. You do, or do you be? Or do you do because you've been? You know, we go around like that. What it is if you just are present and you just be and you meditate and you listen to that still small voice within and you allow that power in you to line up with the thing you want the most, whether it be a Cadillac, a house, whatever it may be, or whether you want peace of mind and an enriched way of being. Whatever that is, walk your walk. Don't pay too much attention to what your neighbor's doing. We play a game sometimes called Follow the Follower. And I remember Earl Nightingale saying that he got he was a great radio broadcaster, he got some great advice. Whatever the great majority of people are doing, do the opposite. Think about that. And I started running that through my head. Whatever the great majority is doing, you do the opposite. And you walk to the unique music that is within you. As a pastor, I believe it's my job to call forth the best in those that are in front of me. And before I was one, I felt it was my job to call forth the best when I was doing seminars and workshops. In any avenue or any venue I was working in, I wanted to see folks being happy. I wanted to be part of making them happy or helping them find their happiness. I didn't enjoy any type of condemnation or criticism. And I knew, as Catherine Ponder said, you're going to make a minister eventually. When I turned her down in 1998, she said, but I know eventually you're going to bless some people. I didn't know that. I finally found it out. But I always wanted to see the people in front of me grow and prosper and flourish, because happy people help make happy people. Discouraged, guilty people have that to give away. We are not part of that in our New Thought movement. There is not one place that I have read or studied where any of our New Thought authors or anybody that I've read the writings of say that it's good to feel bad. If you feel less than today, say you are filled with the strength of the Spirit. You're not lying, you're calling it by faith. And faith is the way we live, whether we know it or not. We have faith in certain things. We believe in certain things. Make those things line up for yourself. Never lose in your imagination. Never let somebody determine for you what you can and can't do. You are unique and you're special and you're precious to Spirit. Walk your own walk. You don't want to come to the end of your life saying, I live the way somebody else wanted me to. You want to be able to say, I live by following the light that was in me. That's true wealth, no matter what the bank account says. True wealth is the grit to be able to see those hard things through when they come. That's wealth. Let's get rid of this narrow perception that wealth is pieces of paper and pieces of round metal and silver. It's so much more than that. You're so much more than what you presently feel you are right now. There is always something more that you're meant to express. And I know that because you're here, you're in front of me, and you're drawing breath. And as long as that's the case, you have a gift to give all of us. This morning, go forward, be healthy, wealthy, prosperous. In other words, hold to the idea of prosperity, abundance, and riches, whatever they may be. Loving, caring, and sharing. All those things are forms of wealth. And when you do that, and when you have that attitude, and when you set yourself straight on the inside, you've allowed Spirit to make you into the vessel that it wants you to be, and is there for you to be, it might surprise you how much the physical money comes to you. Attitude. A little thing that sets a whole lot of things straight when we have the proper attitude toward ourselves and our life. I envision for each one of you that this morning, and that you know the true wealth of who you are. God bless you. Thank you. Speaking of money. For those of you who give prayers to Unity of Bernie and those who tune in, I thank you for that. That's a form of gifts that is a form of our wealth. But we also need, in this world, gifts to enable us to do ministry, to run this organization, to do the many things that we do in outreach. And I'm so happy that we have our Pathlighters, our Course in Miracles, all these things that are ministries of Unity of Bernie. I ask for you to give the best gift you can this morning, knowing that it comes back to you, not necessarily from the place you give it, but from a consciousness that is open to everything and attached to nothing. You let the Spirit do its work as you give this morning. I ask for your best gift. Thank you, Marc.
Freely I have received, freely I give. Thy love through me blesses all that I am, all that I give and receive, all that I give and receive.
Together we say, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I send it forth through my blessings and my love. On a personal note, before we leave, I ask you for your prayers for me, for Janet. I'm looking at the most loving people it's ever been my opportunity to serve, and I appreciate each one of you. And I'm standing in need of some prayer right now. I'm treating myself, and I know with you wonderful people doing the same thing for me that I can't lose. I appreciate your prayers, and thank you for being with me. God bless you.
Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time?
Together we stand and join hands as we feel comfortable in doing so.
And let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Together we say, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Namaste.
And that's how it runs. And that's how it works for us right here at Unity of Learning. We want to thank you for being with us first. That's important. You need to, well, you don't need to, but we do have a certain sense of gratitude in this room for the fact that you're joining us. And in that respect, you are part of us and with us. Thank you so much for being with us. We're going to go break bread, and the only thing missing today is you. Perhaps you'll get a chance to break some bread on your own and think of us. We'll be thinking of you. And until next week, for the next Sunday experience, we wish you a most fulfilling week. Come and join us sometime. Have a great week.